Hi, I'm Akshat and you're watching Something's Brewing. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the V60. The V60 is a pour-over brewer. It is a conical dripper and it uses a paper filter to filter out the coffee. How it works is the percolation method of coffee brewing. V60 is one of my most favorite ways of brewing coffee because it has the ability to make complex and clean cups of coffee. Now, I will walk you through how and what all you would require to make coffee using the V60. You need the dripper, of course. A carafe would be nice to have, or you can directly brew over your mug. That works just as fine. Here today I'd be using a carafe, and you would also need a scale along with this because you need to be precise about the amount of water and coffee grounds that you're putting in. Also, if your scale does not have a timer, you can use a timer on your phone or any other thing. We would also require paper filters and some good coffee. Alongside that, you would need something like a gooseneck kettle that has a spout. If you don't have one, there are ways to make coffee using different things, but it would not be the best way to do that. So we'll be using a gooseneck kettle today and I would recommend you to get one. Alright, so let's get into brewing and we'll talk about all the other variables while brewing. So you need a medium fine grind size for pour overs. And the ratio that we will be using is a 1:15 ratio, the golden ratio in coffee brewing. Alongside that, I would require water that is around the temperature of 96 to 97 degrees. If you don't have a temperature controlled kettle, you can just take water off the boil and use it. So I'll weigh out 15 grams of coffee. Now let's get into grinding the beans. We'll grind it medium fine consistency, something like sea salt. My coffee is ground. The next step would be to take a paper filter and fold it. After folding the paper filter, I would quickly rinse it to get rid of all the papery taste that the paper holds. It also helps in sticking the paper to the dripper so that you have no air pockets in the dripper in the paper. And it also helps in preheating the dripper so that your brew temperature does not go below while brewing. The next step, I would take the coffee that I've ground and put it in. The next step would be pouring in water. I will take 60 ml of water here. This phase is called blooming. So while blooming, our objective is to release all the gases that the coffee holds while the process of roasting. You can gently shake or swirl to evenly wet the coffee grounds. I will let the coffee bloom for around 45 seconds and I'll reintroduce water at around 45 seconds. In the second pour, my aim would be to pour 100 grams of water and make slow concentric circles on the bed of coffee. Once I'm done with this, I will just quickly agitate. Agitation helps in pushing your extraction. It's time for the third and the last pour. After your blooming phase, you don't ideally want your coffee bed to get dry. So as soon as you see your coffee bed getting dry, you can do the final pour. The final pour would be around 80 ml and I'm aiming to do 40 grams in slow concentric circles and the last 40 grams would be a slow steady center pour. I'm done with all my pours. I'll wait for the coffee to get extracted now. And my bed is dry now. We aim for a brew time of around 2:30 to 3 minutes. It's fine if your brew time exceeds or if it's brewed fast. As long as it tastes good to you, it is fine. Let's taste and then we'll talk about it. It's like a fruit bomb inside my mouth. It is very fruity and complex. It is very difficult to get such profiles out of a brewer like a French press, but the French press is a very forgiving brewer and V60 on the other hand isn't. If you mess up on any of the variable like the grind size, temperature or even the brew type, you might end up having a funny tasting cup of coffee. So the V60 is for someone who is okay to get into it, wants to slow down, wants to get nerdy and wants to taste all those complex taste notes that a coffee has to offer. And remember, it does not have to be complicated. You just need to find the recipe that works for you and consistently make coffee using that. You don't need to complicate the process, you need to enjoy the process. If you found this helpful, please do subscribe. And if you want to dive deep into more brewers like the Mocha Pot, French Press and the AeroPress, we have a dedicated video series on those. Thank you for watching. Until next time.